Well, good evening, gentlemen, and welcome back to Trembling Mountain Adventures. It has seemed to me since the very beginning that since this whole ministry is meant to be situated in the outdoors, that it would only be appropriate that these videos be shot outside too. And wouldn't you know it, that on the week my wife and daughters are gone from home, they take all the bug spray with them. And I'm pretty sure we all know how fun the mosquitoes can be during the summer in Alberta. But I obviously did not come out here to talk about mosquitoes and bug spray and the woes of having to deal with these nasty little critters. But what I did want to start off by asking is, have you ever looked at the 10 Commandments and thought, hey, you know what, I may not be great at all of those, but there's one that I nail that one. I'm doing pretty good. Well, about 2 years ago, I was taking a class on the Old Testament prophets, and I had one of those passages. I had the one commandment that I thought, I've got that one figured out. And in class one day, I had that carpet pulled right out from underneath me. That command was the do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. You see, we were talking about God's statements to Israel through the prophets about how they had profaned his name. And our professor tied these statements right back to that third command of do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. And I think, like many others before me, I had always taken that command as, don't use God or Jesus as a swear word. And I know I'm in good company in thinking that way. But my professor had used that command as the entire basis for her doctoral thesis, and she had explained it very, very well. And this is what I came to find out. That word that we translate as take, if you look it up in the Hebrew, it does mean take, but it means take in the sense of to carry something, or of lifting. So in essence, we are told to not carry God's name in vain, or another way of saying it, to not bear God's name in vain. What this meant for Israel is that since they had not been living by God's commands, their lives were not reflecting God's character. So they were, in essence, bearing his name in vain. What this means for us is that our actions matter immensely. The way we live either carries God's name well or it doesn't. We are either showing the world who God really is, or we are giving the world a very wrong picture of God's character. So as I sat there in class, I realized that while I had thought that I was doing really well on this commandment, that I was actually doing horribly. I had made decisions in my life that were not bearing God's name well. And it was far more than just about my speech, it was about my life as a whole. So what does this mean for us men? It means that how we go about our day at work is either reflecting God or it isn't. It means that how we interact with our friends, whether they are Christian or not, matters. It means that how we treat our wife and children matters. And dare I say, for some of us, how we drive matters. And of course, how we talk matters too. This does not negate the fact that we shouldn't use God's name as a swear word. Now, of course, this can't be a matter of legalism, of trying to earn God's love. But it is a matter of living rightly as sons of God, a status that we have already been given. It is ours. God has given it to us, and it is who we are. But it does matter that if we say we follow Jesus, that we better act like we follow Jesus. Now, in case you're a reader and you'd like to dig more into this, my professor wrote a book on this calling Bearing God's Name. Her name, the author, is Carmen Imes, and I'll include a link in the description below, but you are more than welcome to get that and read more about what she has to say. So again, bearing God's name well is not something we do out of an effort to earn God's love for us. He has already given us his love. But it is something we do out of love for him. So until next time, go in the grace that God has already given you and pass that grace on to everyone that you come in contact with.